An NBA season wouldn't be complete without the individual awards. It would be like cheeseburger without the cheese. Most superstars claim they don't really care about the personal trophies. They say what they really care about is the title. But come on, let's not kid ourselves. We also know they also want the hardware. They care about their legacy. And with all the craziness this season, this year's individual awards might mean more than usual. They'd be more memorable to say the least. Because hello, who could forget 2020? And no, don't even get us started on the surprises in the bubble. Is the MVP battle a two-man race? Will there be an upset as Rookie of the Year? Who deserves the Most Improved Player trophy? And the award goes to... Ta-da! That's the headline on tonight's Sports Page.
The hottest headlines.
The illegal issue.
Who will join the pantheon of the great?
What's the outlook of the future of sports?
The game changers.
The history makers.
Stories that make sports eternally compelling.
Open the Sports Page.
I have never seen so many NBA games in my life because it's there every day on our signal channels, and it's so great that it's back. And of course, discussions about the teams and the individual awards are back, and that's why we have our panel tonight, Dom.
Well, Steph, just like you, been watching a lot more NBA these days. Joining us today are special guests. First and foremost, Joe Devance of the Barangay Ginebra Gin Kings, Gino Rufino of One Sports, and of course, Mr. Howard Chen, ESPN correspondent. Welcome, guys, to the show. Welcome to Sports Page. We're very excited and happy to be with us today.
Thank you. Thank you for having.
I'm going to start it out.
Great to be here.
I'm going to start it out. Howard, how's life in the bubble? Everybody keeps asking about that. I follow JaVale McGee, and, so how is it there?
Well, I tell you what, man, I honestly feel like, A, I'm very, very lucky to be here. B, I think it's the safest place in America, to be honest, because ever since the Raptors started training in Florida, like way earlier than the other teams, and that was in late June, until now, there has been not one single case of COVID. So I feel like the NBA is doing it right. I feel like people should be learning from the NBA as far as the constant testing. Now, I personally, I'm on the outer tier, which means I get tested twice a week, and I get daily temperature checks. We wear these social distancing sensors whenever we're at the arena. Wow. Another thing to talk about, I'm at the games. I'm actually at the games. There's so many people in the world that would love to be there. I mean, there's fake fans there, right? I get to see the fake fans, but I'm actually a real person there sitting in the stands watching the game. So last night I was watching TJ Warren just make everything he was throwing up there against the Lakers and making them. And I'm realizing to myself every single day, I'm going to an NBA game right here. So me personally, life in the bubble, I'm cool with it.
Gino, what about you? Your impressions on the quality of play so far in the bubble?
I've been really impressed. I mean, aside from the Lakers who have been kind of taking their foot off the gas, everybody else is still going flat out. And it's been pretty amazing watching the level of basketball being played. I mean, we're talking about guys like you mentioned, TJ Warren. He has been unbelievable. Devin Booker has been unbelievable. Luka Doncic has been unbelievable. The games have been extremely exciting, and I'm so happy that the NBA is back.
Joe, what are your thoughts?
Okay. From a player's perspective, Joe Devance, Jeff Van Gundy said the players are rested, they're not traveling. It seems like this is good for the players, this NBA bubble.
Yeah, for sure. You have to think too that they just took off a few months, so they have a lot fresher legs right now. I think the traveling since they're all right there in the bubble, I don't think there's a better time for them to be any fresher, right? So it's a different time that we're all living in, but I think the whole world is just trying to make the best of what they have. And the NBA is just doing a great job in doing that, for sure.
Absolutely. Howard, tell us a little about the media coverage. You were telling us earlier before we went on the Zoom. You're there, but there are certain protocols being observed.
Yeah, they have two different media tiers. They have one that's an inner tier that kind of interacts with the players a little bit more. And the fact that they interact with the players, their testing is a little bit more strict. Now, for us, we get to go to the game still, but we're considered the outer tier. So we don't really interact or cross with the players or with that inner tier of media as well. But we still get to go to the games. So they still have protocols in place for us. we're still, like, all the media in our tier, we're all in one hotel together. There's no one else coming inside. They have testing inside this hotel twice a week, and everything is synced up with the NBA. So basically what you do on your set days for testing, you go there, get your nose swabbed. They have you all, like, in their system. So whatever test results you have, it gets synced to the NBA. So the NBA sees absolutely everything that's going on. Obviously, they'll get an alert if someone tests positive, which no one has, thankfully, so far yet. Just knock on table, whatever. And, I hope that continues, right? So basically, we have to mask up usually. I'm not masking up right now because I'm in my hotel room. But, the cool thing is around here, it's kind of different than, everywhere else in this country, I think, or most other places. People here, everybody masks up, and then they have security, like, walking around and everything. They have shuttles that take us to the arena complex where the drivers are tested daily. They're constantly disinfecting in between games at the arena. There's all these different things in place. Now for us, it's a little bit different than the inner tier because for them, right, the food setup's a little bit different. They're probably more locked down, and they have daily tests. But for us, there are still protocols because we still get to go inside the arenas and they want to make sure to keep everything clean.
Dom, go ahead, please.
Gino, let's talk about the output of what we see now in the games. How impressed are you? What do you see? What do you like? What don't you like with how the NBA is covering the games?
Oh, the NBA has done, there's nothing not to like considering the situation that we're in. So the output of the players being in one area or one place, no travel involved. So there's that kind of takes away that fatigue aspect from the equation. And so the level of competition has been pretty good. I mean, you see a lot of the games are very close. We've seen multiple overtime games. We've seen games that have been decided by 5 points or less so many times already throughout the first couple of days. And I just can't stress how impressed I am with what the NBA has done and the product that's being put out there. Sure, the packaging has been great, but the product on the floor has been absolutely fantastic.
Joe, I know you guys are used to, your coaches being in ties, and we see the coaches now, more casual look. What do you think about that?
Honestly, I like it. I just think again, because of the times are different, I just feel like being a little bit more relaxed and in their, because they're already out of their comfort zone. So I feel like, again, the NBA is just kind of just ahead of their times, I guess. It's pretty amazing how they just thought of maybe dressing down and having everybody relax a little bit more since they're already out of their comfort zone,
Okay, I'm going to ask Howard our last question before we go into our first break. The teams, who looks good for you and who have disappointed you so far in the course of this bubble tournament?
I think the one team that really has stood out to me so far, maybe it's because they're more of a surprise, is Phoenix.
Yeah.
The Suns are doing nothing but winning right now, and they're playing with this energy and carefree attitude. Like, they kind of came in here and they're kind of like, no one's expecting anything from us, and they're playing with, like, no pressure right now. So they're just winning games, and Devin Booker has been super impressive. I would say him, TJ Warren, Michael Porter, those guys are balling out right now. Clearly you have the good teams are still good. Like, the Celtics had their moments. They really, really clamped down on the Raptors, who I thought were really impressive up until the Celtics team. There's some other teams where it's kind of like, I'm still waiting for them to come together. We're still waiting for the Clippers completely to come together with all their players that are missing. The Lakers, their three-point shooting has been horrible so far. Beyond horrible. I think any of us could actually shoot better than the way they shot before last night. Last night they were better, but the previous two games, I think any one of us, Joe, especially you, but seriously, I could probably shoot better than 2 for 19 or whatever, from three-point land, right? So I think the Lakers are still figuring it out. I still think there's a little bit of rust with some of the teams, but yeah, the Suns really stick out in my mind right now, and that race for the 8th spot in the West, that's at the top of my mind right now as I watch these games.
Okay, we'll take our first break, but there's so much ahead as we continue with Sports Page. We're going to talk about the individual awards. There's heated discussion and debate, and we'll find out what our panelists and you think when we return to Sports Page.
It's a whole new postseason. Catch the NBA playoffs live starting August 18. Daily on NBA TV Philippines, weekends on TV5, and Mondays and Fridays on One Sports.
The NBA just released the finalists for this year's individual awards, which will be handed out in the playoffs in Orlando. And recently, Las Vegas sportsbooks released the odds on who will possibly take home the trophies. For the sixth-man award, Dennis Schroeder has the biggest chance with a whopping 64.5%. At number 2, Montrezl Harrell, followed by his teammate and three-time winner, Lou Williams. If Schroeder wins it, he'll be the fifth foreign player in NBA history to do so, joining his fellow German Detlef Schrempf, Tony Kukoc, Leandro Barbosa, and Manu Ginobili. As for the Most Improved Player award, Bam Adebayo has the best odds to win with 58.8%. If he wins, he'll be the third Miami Heat player to do so after fellow big men Ronnie Cycli and Ike Austin. Running second is his fellow first-time All-Star Brandon Ingram, while last year's Rookie of the Year, Luka Doncic, runs out the three finalists. Lastly, the MVP odds is not even close, with Giannis almost a lock to win his second straight trophy with 96.2%. If the odds prove to be right, he'll join Kareem Abdul-Jabbar as the only multiple MVP winner in Milwaukee Bucks history. And it looks like LeBron James will have to wait again for his fifth MVP award. Is it fair to Anthony Davis that the MVP debate is only between Giannis and not even LeBron James? What do you guys think? Let's start out with you, Gino.
No, it is absolutely fair. And to be honest with you, that award belongs to Giannis. As good as LeBron has been throughout the entire season, as good as AD has been throughout the entire season, you take Giannis out of the Bucks, where are they? They're definitely not the number one seed. They're not number one overall, I should say, in the entire league. So he deserves it, but I can't believe how far LeBron is in that percentage. I would have put LeBron a little bit closer to where Giannis is at.
Joe, who's your pick?
I'll probably have it the same way. I was actually pretty shocked as well that LeBron was so far behind. Basically, I mean, they might as well have put him at 0%. How big that gap was, right? But I think that's fair to say, though. He's probably going to win the MVP for sure.
How about you, Howard? What do you think? Who's your MVP?
I know this sounds boring, but I agree with the other guys. I mean, I think LeBron is definitely MVP caliber. There's definitely a case to be made as far as how tough the Western Conference is. But when your team is the best in the NBA, like the Bucks, and you have been outright dominant, like Giannis has been, I mean, he's going to win MVP. Any other year, LeBron would win it, but Giannis has just been too good this year and too valuable for the Bucks.
Okay, I'll stay with you. How about Rookie of the Year?
Rookie of the Year, I would say this has to be Ja Morant. I mean, Zion, obviously, hey, when he came into the league with all the pizzazz and all the hype, he definitely has lived up to it. It's just he hasn't played enough games. So it's been Ja all the way for me.
Okay. Gino, for Most Improved, who's your pick?
I would go with Bam. Bam for me was a little bit. He's coming from a little bit of nowhere, right? Everybody kind of expected Brandon Ingram to be where he is right now. Everybody and Luka Doncic, what's he doing there? He shouldn't be there. He's already great. He shouldn't be part of that list. But I would give it to Bam, considering the three finalists he gets.
Okay. Dom?
Joe, let's go to you. What about first NBA team? All first team.
Oh, crap.
I saved the hardest question for you.
No, man. Oh, my gosh. All right.
You can name one or two.
I will go with James Harden. right? James Harden, of course, LeBron, AD, Booker, Dame.
One more and you win it.
Dame. You know, Dame Lillard's been killing too now.
Yeah, he has.
Yeah.
Okay.
Howard,
So,
what about you?
As in the all-first team, I mean,
Yep.
I would definitely say, I mean, for sure. I mean, I think you have to go with Giannis, LeBron, Harden. I mean, I think, I mean, Dame has played really well. I mean, like, I think he deserves to be on that list too. And then just round it out, I guess. Wow, last one would be, it's tough. I'm hedging right now, but I'm kind of thinking AD right now. But you can obviously, there's a lot of good players. It's really hard to just narrow down to 5, right? So those are my list.
okay. Players always say, and I'm going to ask Joe Devance first. They always say, I'm not thinking of the individual awards. Team championships are more important. How true is that statement? Or is it something players just normally say, Joe?
Maybe players of my caliber, I guess. You know, like people that don't fill up the stat sheets, maybe that's what we say. And then just if we so happen to be up there, you know, but I guess it just depends on the player, to be honest. You know, I'm sure there's still a lot of players that really want to get that MVP and those stats and stuff like that. But there's a lot also that, again, just really care about the championship. So I just so happen to be that type of player, you know.
Okay. Dom, 2 questions probably before the next break.
Well, we talked about offense. We haven't talked about defense. You guys' pick for Defensive Player of the Year. Gino?
Ooh, this one, in all honesty, I think is the closest battle between all the awards that are going to be given out. But I want to give this award to AD, only because if you look at the Lakers' defense last year, it was horrendous. And when AD arrived, they're number 2, number 3 right now in the entire league in defensive efficiency. And a lot of that has to do with AD. Sure, Dwight Howard's there. Sure, JaVale McGee, they block a lot of shots. But if AD's not there to anchor that defense, then I don't think they would be number 1 in the Western Conference.
So, Howard, as you can see, Gino is a very big Laker fan. But I'll ask you, who's your pick for Defensive Player of the Year?
I mean, for me, I mean, I think I agree with him. And I'm not even the biggest Lakers fan in the world. And I think AD would be my pick as well. But, I mean, Rudy Gobert, I mean, how good is that guy, huh? I mean, such a forward, just alters so many different shots and so many different game plans. So, and my pick this year would be AD, but a lot of respect for Gobert.
Round it up, Joe, your pick.
Yeah, I feel the same way. AD. Either way, you can't go wrong with those two for sure.
Okay, thank you guys. Still coming up, the NBA postseason is here. Which teams will be able to pull off surprises in the playoffs? Let's find out when Sports Page returns. For tonight's That's What They Said, we asked what team will pull off surprises in the NBA playoffs. Jan Rockstar Flores, Portland, if ever na makuha nila ang 8th seed. At Hello Mike, Raptors, despite Kawhi leaving the team, they proved that they are still a team to beat not only in the East, but in the entire league. At August Afternoon Tea, I think the Denver Nuggets can make surprises. They can go big or play small ball. Plus, Michael Porter Jr. is balling out. Okay, welcome back to Sports Page. Guys, who's the player has impressed you the most in the bubble? Howard, let's go with you.
Hey, man, I'm going to go with the guy that I saw last night that was just making everything. I think you guys know it because I've said it before. TJ Warren, man. I mean, yesterday, seriously, it doesn't matter where he was on the floor. If he's shooting from outside the 3 or if he's just chucking it from inside the paint, he was making everything, and he's been making everything. The guy's been nuts. So TJ Warren at the top of my list.
Joe, you're part of Barangay Ginebra, and you guys rely a lot on the crowd. How big is it? How do you think it will really affect the players now that there's no real home court advantage now that they're playing in the bubble?
Yeah, that's it's kind of weird. It's weird to see that, and I'm sure it'll make an effect on certain teams. But I'm trying to kind of like study the crowd and how they do like that back TV thing and the Zoom or whatever it is that they do, and it seems like maybe, I don't know, I could be looking into it a little bit more than I should, but it seems like if a team's going on a run or something like that, it's like they put all their fans up or, you know, something like that. Could the NBA be biased like that? Like put, like, you know, like going for a certain team or something like that? That's what I thought I saw that one game, but, you know, I don't know.
I think certain teams are given the home court advantage. You see the logo on the floor also. That I think players are getting used to the court. Jim Kelly of the Dallas Mavericks was telling us in another show that the teams could not practice as much on the actual playing court. I think the teams are getting used to the court. They're shooting so much better, Gino.
Yeah, I mean the depth of field. I mean that all of that plays a factor. Right? I mean that even the lighting on the court is a little bit different. So obviously it's a different court from where they're practicing. They're practicing in ballrooms, and all of a sudden you bring them to an arena.
Yeah,
the field has to be different. But I mean, obviously it's not a problem for guys like T.J. Warren, Devin Booker. I mean, they've been absolutely lights out the entire bubble or restart of the NBA. So. I think the players are so good. These are the best players in the world, and they will eventually adjust.
Howard, has the defense now been a little stickier compared to the start when maybe they were conscious of the COVID-19 pandemic? Is the defense a little tighter nowadays?
I mean, I think the players feel safe, you know, and I think at the same time that they all want to win, and they're all getting ready for the playoffs. So whatever their motivation may be, I think they're just playing ball right now, and I think the NBA has done a good job of making everybody just feel safe. So I don't think that has really impacted the way they play on the floor, because I think everybody's just trying to be normal, and I think everybody's grateful to be back.
Is the NBA easier to manage in a bubble compared to the other sports in the U.S. like baseball and the NFL, Howard?
I think so. I mean, I think roster size has a lot to do with it. But I also think there's a lot of collaboration and unity between the commissioner and the players, because when they discuss their plans to make this happen, the two groups kind of work together. And they, you know, the owners and the commissioner, Adam Silver, I mean, they made sure that the players were on board with what they were presenting. And I think that's really, you see everybody with a shared sense of responsibility, and that's been really powerful. And that's one of the big reasons why things have been working so far.
And some of the reasons why other sports are not coming together in their own restarts. Dom?
Joe, you know, playoffs is basically just around the corner. How difficult is it to get players into playoff mode? I mean, you've experienced that you know, you don't really get a long regular season and then all of a sudden in the playoffs. How difficult is it?
Who are you asking?
Joe.
It's that's something that's very difficult. And when does a playoff start? In like another week, 2 weeks? Oh, okay, yeah. So it's coming up pretty fast. So it's just going to be one of those things where they're just going to have to force it. They're going to have to force the issue. And I think for the most part, though, the teams have been together for a little bit longer. But except for AD, I know Melo got a new team, but it's there. I'm sure it won't be a problem once playoffs start coming around the corner, though.
Let's go to Gino. Gino, I know your Lakers are number one in the West. So who do you think is going to be the 8th seed?
You know, I'm scared to say it because they have been absolutely unbelievable. And Dame time in the playoffs against the Lakers, that's what he wants. This is a team, the Portland Trail Blazers, they have the Achilles heel of the Lakers, right? They have a scoring backcourt. And without Avery Bradley and maybe a healthy Rajon Rondo, it's going to be harder for the Lakers to contain that. And then they have the size to throw at AD. So as a Laker fan, I'm a little bit afraid of that matchup.
Howard, let's go move forward all the way to the finals. Who do you think is going to meet in the Eastern Finals and all the way up to the NBA Finals? Which two teams?
Well, I mean, I'll say for the finals, I'm going to say Lakers and Bucks. Definitely the Bucks from the East. I do think the Lakers will come out of the West. I think LeBron, he's just too motivated right now. But obviously, the Clippers are going to be a very, very tough team for the Lakers to get past. If it comes down to the Battle of LA, it's those two teams.
Okay. Dom, it's been a great NBA discussion with Howard. We took him away from his breakfast, and Joe and Gina started talking soul food and all kinds of food, and he made Howard hungry today. But it's been a great show with these three gentlemen.
Well, thank you, gentlemen. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, Howard. Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Gino. And I know we've got our own teams that we're rooting for in the NBA playoffs. The great thing is the NBA is back. Everybody is negative. And that's really a good thing. And we're all looking forward to being able to finish the season of the NBA. So it's something that, the PBA will be able to emulate.
Okay. As we take our last look, it was clear that the uncertainties and challenges that affected the NBA this season have been difficult for the fans, but more for the players themselves. But still, because of what Howard said, the cooperation between the league owners, the commissioner's office, and the players, this has so far worked, and we look forward to it working even more. The individual awards are the icing on the cake, and the players want to win this special title this year in the bubble. But the awards will be just as special. And, the players do want to be recognized for these great efforts. In behalf of all our great guests, my partner Dominic Uy in the studio, thank you for joining us. It's been a special pleasure having all of you here in tonight's Sports Page.